Hey guys, it's another day of really bad air quality in Portland. I have my studio all locked up and there's no AC here. I've got my Corsi Rosenthal box going, which is why I'm using my microphone because it dampens some of the background noise. But I want to talk about the elections last night. With Abdul El-Sayed winning against Haley Stevens, there's just been a tremendous amount of rejoicing. Now, I've seen folks immediately spinning this as, well, like he's only won by 1 percentage point. And initially folks said he was going to be way ahead. I think it's a cautionary tale for us if we did not learn in 2024 how flawed the polls are and that maybe we shouldn't trust pollsters. Then last night's elections really should have sealed that for you, which should make us all the more concerned about the midterms. I saw Leah Greenberg from Indivisible said, if you're looking at what's happening in Michigan with Dr. Abdul barely winning, then that should reinvigorate you to get to the fucking polls for Peggy Flanagan, right? All of these progressive candidates need our vote. If we don't show up, then we don't get to express our will at the ballot box. It is our duty as American citizens to cast a vote. And so when you see these very narrow margins, it should reinforce for you that every vote counts. Every vote. We need the election to be too big to rig. We need everybody to show up. Come hell or high water, we are all getting to the polls.
AIPAC and Israel are not the same as Judaism and the Jewish people. I love Judaism and I love the Jewish people. I venerate Judaism and I venerate the Jewish people. I stand with Judaism and I stand with the Jewish people. And the single most dangerous thing that they've tried to tell us is that somehow they can extend the definition of anti-Semitism to include a foreign government and its leaders. I call bullshit. No. No. If you believe that anti-Semitism extends to include a foreign government and AIPAC, you are creating a dangerous circumstance. So it is important for us to recognize that we love Judaism and the Jewish people because we love people. And we love Palestinians and their rights because we love people. And we love that our tax dollars get spent here, on schools here, and healthcare here, because we love people. You cannot claim that human rights end at a border. You cannot claim that you want to invest in our kids when you send our money abroad to kill other people's kids. You cannot claim it.
But I actually don't think that this narrow margin of victory is a problem at all. I think this is a massive, massive victory for the progressive movement. And I just want to correct folks in my comments who keep repeatedly saying that Dr. Abdul El-Sayed is DSA, or I'll get Trumpers in my comments calling him a communist. First of all, it's embarrassing if you are calling Democratic Socialists, who are Democrats, who are registered Democrats, if you're calling them communists. It's embarrassing for you. If you are regurgitating Trump's talking point, you should be embarrassed because we all know that it's absolute horse shit. These are not communist. There's no Red Scare happening here. But even so, Abdul is not a member of the DSA. He's just a progressive Democrat. He's just a progressive Democrat. And if that distinction matters for you, okay, sure, fine. If it matters for you, then understand that we are looking at a progressive Democrat who won over an AIPAC bought Democrat. AIPAC and billionaires and foreign lobbies outspent Haley Stevens' campaign, and those campaigning on her behalf outspent Abdul's campaign 9-1. AIPAC dropped $60 million trying to get their girl elected, and it didn't work. And that, I think, is the only takeaway that we should have. I know there's an awful lot of pearl clutching today from establishment Democrats, pundits on mainstream media who are like, oh, now is Abdul electable or not? Now we're in trouble in the general election. No, I don't think so. And I saw another creator who I generally respect saying like, well, he didn't even win the majority because Mallory McMorrow got a percentage of the vote. Okay, I understand that. But that doesn't mean that he's not electable. I heard somebody else say, oh, well, you're looking at a general election now where it's hot doctor versus crusty old, MAGA Republican. Could we not objectify Democratic candidates and reduce them down to how hot they are? People did that with Zoran Mamdani. People did that with Barack Obama. It's not about their raise. It's not about their charisma. It's about the platform. What got Abdul El-Sayed to win this primary was his policy positions. It was his policy positions. It was not his looks. Okay, you guys, can we please stop doing that?
Listen, man, if you can't say the name, it's Abdurrahman, keep the name out your damn mouth. My name is not raising your gas prices. My name is not taking us to war. My name is not the reason you can't afford your groceries. You know what it is? They're BS policies. So he can point to my name all he wants. But I'll also tell you this. I've been in Abdul in Michigan my whole life. This is like the best place in the world to be Abdul. You know why? Because Michiganders they're big-hearted. They're open-minded. They're earnest and they're gritty. And Michiganders are sick and tired of BS politics coming in to divide us. As bitter and as divisive and as cynical as the campaign against us might have been, I want us to realize that there is so much more that unites us now. Because the campaign that Mike Rogers and Donald Trump and their GOP MAGA allies are launching is already more bitter. All you got to do is look at the ads you're already watching on TV, started today. You know, they think they want to use my whole name against me. Mike, listen, man, if you can't say the name, it's Abdurrahman, keep the name out your damn mouth. So, Mike, if you want to be a Florida man, go be a Florida man. If you want to golf in Florida, go golf in Florida. But I promise you in November, we are going to send you back to Florida.
Dr. Abdul is going to win in the general election because he has a compelling platform. He speaks into the lives of working class Michiganders and he addresses their concerns and he has plans to make their lives better. And that is why he will get elected. That is why we are seeing this progressive groundswell right now. We have organizers, activists who are running for office, who are invested in policies and programs and reforms and change that will benefit working class people. That is why they are ascendant, not because they have good looks, not because they're in the DSA, but because of the specific policy positions. And when we're looking at this race where Haley Stevens massively outspent, right? Huge amounts of advertising that reached older Michiganders. I was looking through some of the statistics, and that's like not my wheelhouse, but I was just taking a glance at how many of them, like more rural white districts with older voters, voted for Haley Stevens. Those are folks who still watch broadcast TV. Those are folks who still listen to radio commercials. Those are folks who are susceptible to AIPAC's propaganda. But as those folks, shift out of the voter demographic over the next few years, you're going to see that none of the propaganda from AIPAC and from the billionaires is going to work on us anymore. And so we saw this narrow margin of victory, but let's not forget that Abdul was way behind in the polls just a couple of weeks ago, right? It seemed like he was not going to pull ahead. It's just like Zoran Mamdani was initially polling at 1%. You have to start somewhere and you have to build power by going out and reaching people, by connecting to people. If you want your candidate to get elected, you have to persuade the voters to vote for them. You have to get out and listen to the voters and their needs and their lived experience, and you have to be able to present a compelling platform. You can't just say we're going to run this candidate unless you are prepared to cultivate an electorate who is excited about that candidate and will show up for them. And that's what happened with Abdul, and that's why he won his primary and he's going to win the general. We all have to continue to get out there and reach voters. And when it comes to the general election, you have to reach voters who are not Democrats, you guys, especially in swing states. It's that discomfort of being willing to go and listen to folks who've never voted for a Democrat before, or those independents who in the last election either didn't show up, right? Remember, non-voters won the 2024 election. You have to activate people, organize people. The average American voter, unfortunately, is not particularly well informed and they're not particularly energized. And there are a number of hurdles that people have to overcome to get to the polls. So you have to incentivize them to be able to overcome those hurdles and show up and vote for your guy if you want them to win. Organizing on a local level, door knocking, listening to folks, inviting folks out, presenting the truth of what your policy positions are for your candidate to those folks, and then hearing their concerns, engaging in a non-judgmental way. That's how you get people to vote for your guy. Okay, but I really quickly want to talk about two more races. The first one is Cori Bush in Missouri, and you guys, I'm a big fan of Cori Bush. I was really pissed when she got voted out 2 years ago. AIPAC made it their mission to unseat her, just like they did with Republican Thomas Massey. And so she got voted out 2 years ago, and she has run again as a DSA candidate. And I'm so frustrated with the lack of focus and attention and support for her campaign, especially from folks like Bernie or others. There was not the same kind of energy and focus in talking her up as there was for Dr. Abdul. And so when people say, well, she lost, I think she got something like 30% of the vote. There wasn't the same amount of investment in her campaign, and I think that really, really hurt her. And again, AIPAC poured tons of money into her race. I think that she still is a really important person when it comes to her ideas, her policy positions, and her organizing, and I look forward to seeing more of her in the future. So I don't necessarily think that what you saw with Cori Bush's loss is anything that fits the narrative of the establishment of like, oh, the progressive groundswell is not actually that powerful and AIPAC is still controlling. You guys, progress is incremental. I know that a lot of fellow leftists don't like to believe in incremental progress, but you build your power slowly. And so we're seeing all of these gains. Mayla, Kiros, all the folks in New York, we're seeing all of these gains that are happening in this primary cycle. That is a building of the power. And so if you don't win every single election, it's not like your movement has suddenly floundered or is failing. You build your power and you get to a point where you can have your folks elected and they can vote out leadership like Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer. They can vote AIPAC out of power. And you have to be patient. You have to be willing to build that way. And speaking of building power, William Lawrence won his primary for Michigan's 7th congressional district last night, and establishment Democrats are freaking out about it. Lawrence is one of the co-founders of the Sunrise Movement. I'm too old to participate in it. It is a movement of energy, progressive energy from the youth, but I'm a big supporter of theirs. I know our local Indivisible groups are often supporting and talking up Sunrise Movement folks, and some of their folks participate with Indivisible. So, the establishment's not too, even Rachel Maddow, I saw called Lawrence and the Sunrise Movement radical.
This young man, William Lawrence, who's a co-founder of the very interesting, very radical Sunrise Movement, and he has prevailed.
Radical left. We don't have a radical left in this country. What we have is a workers over billionaires movement. What we have is an end political corruption movement. What we have is a movement of people who want representation for us, the people, who want our tax dollars and our policies to benefit us. And I think that what you're seeing with William's win, what you're seeing with Dr. Abdul's win, and what you're seeing with this shifting of the way that we think, the way that AIPAC's propaganda is not going to work on us. The billionaires cannot purchase elections anymore. Their days in power are dwindling. Their influence is dwindling. A new movement is on the rise. It's exciting times.